everyone, and welcome to today's workshop. We're going to be talking all about how to leverage marketing automation to triple your conversions in your lawn or landscape company. We're going to walk you through the biggest opportunities in automation right now, from online booking to AI chat to automated follow up, so you can convert more of your leads that you're already generating into actual booked jobs. Scott is going to walk you through today's session.
Thanks, Becky. Hey, everyone. It's great to see you. So, we're talking all about how to leverage marketing automation to triple your conversions in your lawn or landscape company. I love talking about marketing. I love talking about the latest innovations in AI and where things are headed. Let me know if you're watching this live or maybe you're watching it after the fact. On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being you don't use automation at all, and 10 being you've got automation pretty well dialed in. Maybe you've got AI chat happening on your website. Maybe you've got online booking. Maybe you've got AI voice actually answering your phone calls. Let me know on a scale from 1 to 10. And if you're on with us live, type your number into the chat there. And I think there's always a little bit of a spectrum in this, right? You probably wouldn't be logging into a session on how to leverage marketing automation if you weren't already leaning in that direction and embracing that idea as you grow. As everyone answers that in the chat, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. So bear with me for just 1 second here. Okay, perfect. Let's go. Automation has to be looked at in the bigger picture strategy of what you're looking to do, right? And our bigger picture strategy is what we call the growth engine for lawn and landscape companies, which is how do we grow the leads? How do we grow the booked jobs? How do we grow the revenue in our business so we can accomplish the revenue growth that we're after? And really, there's 3 things we have to focus on. Number 1, we have to focus on driving leads, getting those phone calls, getting those web inquiries, getting those chats. We have to then focus on conversion because the leads that don't convert into booked jobs, that don't convert into actual paying customers that use us again and again, those leads don't go anywhere. Then we've got to optimize results, right? We have to figure out for all the money we're spending in marketing, what's working. Is it the SEO? Is it the pay-per-click? And if we really get a dial on how much we're spending, what our average cost per lead is, and most importantly, what's driving our return on investment so we can optimize those results. When it comes to driving leads, that first one, I'm a big proponent of let's get the organic equation dialed in. We're coming up in all the places our customers are looking for us. Then let's put some paid ad spend behind it. Let's make sure local service ads is running. Let's make sure Google ads is running. Let's make sure we've got retargeting in place. And let's make sure we're collecting a database of prospects that haven't converted yet and a database of customers that have done business with us that we want to remain in touch with so we can do business with them again and again in the future and get referrals and reviews. If you get that dialed in, you're going to have a ton of leads. We all have different lead volume that we need, right? If you're looking to get from 700,000 in revenue to 2 million, that's going to be a different number of leads than if you're going from 5 million to 7 million. I'd love to know from you guys on the live call with us today, or if you're watching after the fact, type it in the comments. What's your lead target on a monthly basis? If you're on live, type that into the little chat there. I'd love to know your number. From there, from leads, we've got to maximize conversion, and that's where we're going to be focused today. Because if we're generating a lot of leads through these various paid channels, through SEO, we want to make sure those leads convert into actual booked jobs and actual revenue. So a couple of things with this. Our website, we have to make sure that's built to convert, that it's compelling, that it's giving customers a reason to do business with us versus the competition. A lot of lawn and landscape companies fall short in that arena. We also have to make sure we've got our reputation in place, because if somebody looks us up by name, they're going to want to know, how many reviews do they have? What are other people saying about them? Are they going to take care of me and my property? So making sure we've got that positive review sentiment online is really critical. And ultimately, to optimize for conversion, we want to leverage automation. And that's where we can get quicker speed to lead, follow through and follow up better, and really meet our customers where they're at. And that's what we're going to be really focused on today. So another way to look at this is in these 3 columns here. And again, we're going to be zooming in right on the marketing automation strategies. Before we get too deep into the weeds on today's topic, for those of you I haven't met, I'm Scott Coullard with webSURGE Landscape Marketing. I've been in the marketing world for a long time now, but before any of that, I I actually spent about 6 years working on a lawn crew. So when I talk to landscape business owners about hiring challenges, busy seasons, weather delays, or just trying to keep the crew productive, those aren't just concepts to me. I've experienced them firsthand too. But as an agency, we didn't always focus exclusively on landscaping. We worked with businesses across a variety of industries, from electricians to med spas and manufacturers. But as we looked at the results we were generating, one thing became really obvious to us. The strategies we were developing were especially effective for lawn and landscape companies. So instead of being a generalist agency where we served everybody, we made the decision to specialize in the green industry. Since then, we've worked with lawn and landscape companies in markets all over the country, had the opportunity to see what separates businesses that consistently grow from those that struggle to generate leads. We've learned what works, what doesn't, and what continues to deliver better results year after year. So everything we're going to be sharing today comes from that experience, real campaigns, real businesses, real lessons learned along the way. Throughout the presentation, we'll kind of share some examples you can borrow from so you can see exactly how these ideas can be applied in your own market and your own business. And just to give you a little perspective on who we are as a company, at webSURGE Landscape Marketing, again, we work exclusively with lawn and landscape businesses. That's all we do. Our mission is to help 100 lawn and landscape companies double their revenue through better marketing, better systems, better lead generation. And a big part of the reason we put trainings on like this one is because we want to share what's actually working in the field, real strategies, real examples, things you can take back to your business to use to make smarter marketing decisions. But if somewhere along the way you're thinking, Scott, I like what you're showing here. I like these examples. I like what these companies are doing, and I'd love help implementing some of this in my own business. We'd love the opportunity to have that conversation, whether that's improving your website, generating more qualified leads, improving your Google visibility, or building a better overall marketing system. That's exactly what we help lawn and landscape companies do every day. If you're interested in having us do a free evaluation of your current online marketing strategy, we'd love to do that for you. Sometimes it's good to be on these sessions, right? But sometimes you just want somebody to drill down on your specific situation. And if that's you, we're going to drop a link into the chat. You can head to wslandscapemarketing.com/schedule, or just hit up that QR code on the screen, grab a time from the calendar. Again, no hard sale. I'll personally look at your marketing, what you've got going on, give you an evaluation, show you some things that are working, show you where there might be some gaps, and talk about how we can help if that's a good fit. And if it's not a good fit, that's okay too. We'd love the opportunity to just at least share some insights with you specifically. And if there's a fit, fantastic. So with that said, what's your biggest challenge right now when it comes to marketing your lawn or landscape company? Again, I'd love if you could drop that into the chat with me, whether you're on live or watching this after the fact. I at least want you to think about it and sort of bring that thought to the surface. What's the biggest challenge when it comes to marketing your lawn or landscape company? Drop that into the chat and I'd love to hear it. What I typically hear, and we talk with lawn and landscape companies every day, number one is not enough leads, right? Hey, listen, I've got crews, I've got the equipment, I've got the bandwidth, we've got things we need to do, and we just don't have enough leads coming in to keep the crews running. Type leads into the chat if that's you, just not enough leads. And we hear that often. The other thing I hear is low quality leads. Okay, hey, I've got the leads. I paid this company, they got me ranked, I'm running ads, I'm getting leads, but they're telling me, hey, you got X amount of leads, but they're actually low quality on the back end. They're not the kind of customer that actually has a problem right now. They're just tire kickers. It's not really a good fit for what we do as a company. Maybe they're just looking for a one-off mow or only small projects. Type quality into the chat if that's you, because for some of us, that's the struggle, right? None of these jobs actually convert. It feels like a big waste of time. The other big challenge I hear is the leads are just costing too much and there's a low return on the investment. Some of us are saying, look, I've invested in this marketing. I do see lead flow and we actually get some booked jobs. But by the time I pay my crew, by the time I cover my overhead materials, there's just not a return on the investment there. I'm barely breaking even on what I'm spending on the marketing. Type ROI in the chat if that's you. That's return on investment. And that's a real issue, right? The cost of Google ads right now, unfortunately, is going up. And the competition is increasing because there's so many other lawn and landscape companies out there. If we're not getting a quality cost per lead through an effective strategy and then really converting those leads, our cost to acquire a booked job is going to be more than that revenue generated, right? It could be that Google Ads is in your market isn't just, it's not a good fit. Or maybe the way it's structured, maybe you're going after too broad a set of keywords and you need to get that dialed in. That's actually a topic we went into a lot more depth on a previous session, how to accelerate your results with Google Ads and paid advertising. If you want to go check out that recording, it can be found on our YouTube channel. That's a great one to dive into. For some of us, though, it's a lack of clarity on the return on investment. It's like, okay, I'm spending money on marketing. Do I get a return on investment? It's not where I want it to be. And it never is, right? We always want to make more than we currently are. I feel like I'm flying blind at some level. I feel like maybe something is working. I just can't really put a finger on what it is. Type clarity in the chat if that's you. Like, I just don't really know, and I'd like to know. These are the challenges we hear every single day. All right. The other big challenge is there's just too many options, right? When it comes to marketing your lawn or landscape company, back in the day, it was pretty easy, right? We bought a double truck ad in the yellow pages, spent a bunch of money. That's where our customers looked, and it was pretty simple. In today's market, there are so many options. Maybe it's Google ads, maybe it's local service ads, maybe somebody's telling you that you need to be on Thumbtack or some other platform. Maybe you should be doing radio advertising. Maybe you're looking into all these new AI platforms like ChatGPT or Claude, and you're wondering if you should put your focus there. Type options in the chat if you just feel overwhelmed. There's so many different ways to market your lawn and landscape company that it's just hard to pick, and it's hard to stick with one particular strategy. And my belief now, having worked with a lot of different lawn and landscape companies, is that in most cases, it's not really a lead problem. There are so many things we can implement. There are so many strategies. There are so many homeowners that are in desperate need every single day for our services, whether it's a lawn maintenance program, whether it's landscape installation, whether it's seasonal cleanups. There's a surplus of demand for these services. And we all know there's a limit to the amount of people trained in this work, right? There's more demand out there than there is supply. And so with all the channels available, there are companies that are winning today. There are lawn and landscape companies that are absolutely crushing it, getting 100, 200, 500% growth year over year. What's the difference? Why is it that maybe in your situation, you're not seeing that growth on your end? You're not able to get the results that you want. And I believe, again, it's not a lead problem. It's actually a conversion problem. And what we're seeing consistently is that unconverted leads are the biggest challenge. Because if you're paying for Google ads, SEO, website, display advertising, Facebook, whatever channel you're running, and you're converting those leads into sales, it gets expensive fast. The return on investment falls apart. So that's the problem we have to solve. And that's exactly what we're going to focus on with today's session. And here's the reality, kind of zooming out, big picture. 90% of the people who reach your website don't convert. They're in your market, they have a problem, but for some reason they leave. And that's not unique to you, that's the industry standard. 50 to 60% of your inbound leads go unconverted. Somebody actually picked up the phone, called the office, and for some reason they didn't become a customer. And 90% of contact forms on the website go nowhere. Someone took the time to fill out their name, phone number, email, describe their situation, and nothing happens. We see these every day and they're just not winning. And that's the statistical reality in your lawn and landscape business right now. And so here's why. Why are the people that actually have a problem, they're coming to your website in your market, and you offer the service, the solution to their problem, why are they not converting? So here's the stats. Number one, today's consumer would prefer to book online versus call in and speak to somebody. If they have the choice, they'd just rather book online. And I know in lawn and landscape, we're conditioned for the phone, right? We want them to call. We've got our office team standing by to answer questions. And that's how we built our entire marketing machine around that phone call. But a lot of people in today's market have become very app minded. If they need groceries, they take their phone, they pull up an app, put in the items they want, and a couple hours later, groceries show up at their door. They need a ride somewhere. They're not calling a taxi service. They're going into some app and saying, come pick me up. And that's where most of your customers are today, or they're at least very directly headed in that direction. So if they've got a lawn or landscape problem or project they want it done, and you have the opportunity to get to your website and fill in a form, or get to your website and pick up the phone and have to talk to somebody and stop what they're doing, versus the opportunity to just schedule a date and a time right then and there, they're going to choose that every day, right? And I'm not saying that's everybody. I'm not saying we need to eliminate phone calls. I'm not saying we have to eliminate those contact forms. But if we don't have online booking, That's going to be a big reason why someone hits the back button on your website and they just go to your competition versus booking directly on your site. And if given the choice, they'd prefer to text message or start a chat than have a phone conversation. Now, for the people that do submit a contact form or do pick up the phone and have a conversation, leads that don't get followed up within 15 minutes or less go cold. There's just too many options. Today's consumer is just moving too fast. They have an issue, they're busy, they've got things going on, they're quickly typing in a search into Google or ChatGPT, and they're just looking to get to the problem solved as quickly and as efficiently as possible. So they get to your website, they opt to do a chat or fill in a form, and you don't have somebody immediately following up with them. They're hitting that back button. They're going to the next company, the one that answers live and can book them, or the one that goes to an online widget where they can actually schedule in. Type true into the chat if you know that to be true, right? Leads that aren't followed up within 15 minutes go cold. And that's kind of an old stat. It's probably more like 5 minutes in today's market. And the average unconverted customer needs to be touched 5 to 7 times before they book. They need to be contacted 5 to 7 times before they book. There's a lot of customers in shopping mode, right? Sometimes it's an emergency, and we know those are going to get booked one way or the other. But for higher ticket services, like a full landscape installation, a big seasonal contract, those people might need a little bit more nurture, more of those touch points. And I find that most lawn and landscape companies, tell me if this is you, their whole marketing strategy is optimized around generating a phone call. Someone in the office answers, asks a couple questions, tries to schedule. Best case scenario, the customer says yes, they schedule for Tuesday at 2. But after that call hangs up, if they didn't book, there's literally nothing that happens. No follow up email, no follow up call, no drip campaign, which is a sequence of emails. If they didn't book, it's gone. And I'll tell you, 99 out of 100 lawn and landscape companies in today's market, that's the reality for their business. But statistics tell us if we can be just a little more diligent and a little bit more thorough with our follow through, we can convert more of those opportunities into booked jobs. Type 1 in the chat if you're following along and that makes sense. These are really the reasons you're not converting the deals and the opportunities that are coming your way. So here's the solution to that. It's pretty simple in today's market. The technology exists to eliminate all those issues. Number one, again, offer online booking. Give the customer the ability to pick a date and a time. We'll talk more about the logistics of that and whether it has to match to your dispatch availability or your schedule, or if we can just do a soft booking. In a lot of cases, the soft booking accomplishes that same outcome. Number two, have a two-way chat option on your website where someone can just text message back and forth with you. I'm going to advocate for that two-way SMS text message because just having a dead end chat on your website, or they have to chat only on the website itself, you don't actually get their cell phone number. And once they close that chat window, you've lost them at that point. Versus once they two-way text message you, now you've got their phone, you're actually able to communicate with them wherever they go. Number three here, leverage automation. Automation now exists where the moment somebody requests an appointment, the moment someone fills out that form on your website, that very moment they can get a phone call connected to your office. They can get a text message saying, hey, saw you filled out the form. How can we help? And they get an email. And then they can also get added to a follow-up sequence where we can drip them automatically and just periodically check in with them with text messages and emails over time. Because let's face it, you're not going to have someone in the office manually following up with all of your leads multiple times, but we can put automation in place to continue to circle back until they've either booked the job or they said they've gone with somebody else. This is the solution. It's pretty simple. This technology absolutely exists, and it can have a huge impact on the results you get with your marketing and how you can grow your lawn and landscape company. Let me give you some simple math here, and I'll share some real examples as we go too. Let's say right now you're generating about 30 leads per month. You've got phone calls coming in, you've got those contact forms coming in, 30 leads per month. And your conversion rate from those 30 leads is 30%. And that's about the norm, unfortunately, or even lower than that. Because you've got no automation, you're not quick to follow up on your leads, only 30% of your leads actually convert. So you wind up with 9 booked jobs from those 30 leads. And again, that's optimistic. Next, we'll punch in the average ticket for a job. Let me know if you're on with us live what your average ticket is in the chat. If you're primarily turf care, this is going to be lower. Obviously, if you're design build, that's going to be much larger. But let's just say it's 15,000 from the perspective of a full service company. So we're kind of blending some lower ticket work with some higher ticket work. So 9 jobs at $15,000. That's about 135K in revenue generated. Not too bad, but we're leaving so much opportunity on the table with those other 21 leads that didn't convert. Now, when we put some automation in place where we're following up with speed to lead, giving the customers the opportunity to book directly online, conversions can go up as high as 60%. And that's really the gold standard from a lead to a booked job. So how does that change when you put this stuff in place? You go from 9 booked jobs to 18 booked jobs for the same number of leads, without spending another dollar on advertising, without spending another dollar in local service ads, without spending another dollar in whatever channel you're running. So 18 booked jobs at 15,000, you go around 135K from our previous example to 270K in revenue because you're following up more effectively. You're converting those leads into booked jobs into sales with automation and follow up. This makes every lead you generate more valuable. It gives you the opportunity to be more aggressive with your marketing too. Because if more of your leads are converting, your average cost to acquire a customer is less. You can spend more on Google ads. You can spend more on local service ads. You can start to compete with even some of the big dogs in your marketplace. So this is a company here called Hunter Springs Landscape Artisans that we work with, and I'm going to walk through what they're doing right. That way we go from abstract and theory to real. We're looking at a live example here. Hunter Springs is based in Syracuse, New York. A couple things when you pull their website up, really easy to see what they do. Landscape and outdoor living company in Syracuse, New York. Really clear buttons to click to call them directly, and a little sublink to start a quote. Speaking to the customer, what they're looking for, the problems they may be looking to solve, hitting their key buttons, calling out that they serve both residential and commercial. That photo there on the right is chosen very intentionally. That particular project shows almost all their services in one shot. You've got the hardscaping and the walkway, steps and retaining wall, their enhancement work with the mulch, the plantings. You get the idea. Stock photos aren't going to convert visitors to leads nearly as well as real photos of your projects or team. This is an example of a website that converts really well. And so if you look at the data here, we track this very closely in the clients we serve. You can see here, 4,500 in monthly investment. That's their management fee plus their ad spend. How many leads? They got 175 leads tracked on a monthly basis. You divide that out and it comes to about $25.86 per leads. And some of them are calling in. Some of them are coming from Google ads. Some of them are coming straight from the Google Maps. This is what's possible when you've got a great website with the traffic behind it. We're driving leads through organic, through paid, through local service ads, but we're also converting them at the highest level possible. Another example I want to pull up here is a lawn and landscape company based in the Pasadena, Maryland market. You'll see a trend here, personality and authenticity on the website. The phone number and get an estimate buttons are very clear. They're a garden center in addition to a landscaping company, so they have the added need to promote their bulk products alongside the landscaping services. This is their main landing page, also known as their homepage. When it comes to writing your homepage, you always want to speak to two things: what you do and where you do it. What you do and where you do it. So you can see here sections for their maintenance, enhancements, and hardscaping side, then an additional section to feature their bulk materials too. A little further down the page, we mention the main areas they serve and then link off to the rest of their individual city pages. And I show these specific examples because I want you to see there's probably some difference between your current websites and the website I'm showing you. You can do this stuff. It's not super hard to implement these strategies on your website, and they'll have a big impact on your conversion. So in their case, about 4,600 invested in services, the SEO, web management, paid search management, plus ad spend. You divide that out by their 626 leads generated. That comes out to about $7.32 per lead. Good example there on the real data in the real world, how this works when you track the conversion. And if you look at the visitors divided by the lead flow, this website also converts really well from those visitors to lead. Another really cool example is a lawn and landscape company in the Minneapolis-St. Paul market. Really awesome photo of their projects. Phone number is easy to find. Get a free design consultation stands out. And here's something I want you to notice when I pull up this website. Look at that navigation menu that I pulled down there. Count how many different service pages they have. Every single one of those little pages there, those little links, patios, fire pits, outdoor kitchens, retaining walls, each of the individual services are built out into individual detailed pages. So take the patios page, for example. It's not written with fluff like we're the best landscaping company in town, but actual specifics instead. So their design process, the materials they use, their actual warranties, what makes them actually different, and links to related services. So a customer who came in looking for patio starts thinking about maybe lighting and adding a seating wall. That depth of content is doing two things at once. Number one, it's helping them rank on Google. Number two, it's converting visitors who are already ready to buy. And if we drill down on the data here, 5,246 invested, about 146 leads tracked. That's $35.94 per lead. If we look at the sessions divided by the leads, again, very good conversion for this particular website too. And I can share lots more examples. I don't want to get too in the weeds, but a lot of us like to see examples to validate this actually makes a difference in the real world. Type example into the chat if it's helpful to see a couple of examples of this in play. All right. So how do we do this for you? What is it that we need to understand? What is it that we need to put in place? Number one, we got to engage in the way our customers want to engage. I talked about this before, but I really want to hammer it in to make sure it settles. Your customer wants to book online. They would like a two-way text message. Some of them would like a phone call. Stop making a phone conversation the only option or a contact form the only option in order to schedule a time with your company. And the statistics back this up. 90% of all text messages are open. 95% of text messages are responded to within 3 minutes of being delivered. And your customers are 5 times more likely to send and receive a text message rather than a phone call. If you're on the webinar today, you probably got a text message, inviting you to come into this. And we do that very intentionally too, because most people read those as opposed to the email. So if we don't have texting as an option and we're just leveraging the phone, or we think we're going to use email, again, that's a dead end for lawn and landscape companies too, right? Very few of your customers are going to convert via email. We need to give them online booking. We need two-way text messaging, and we need live phone answer as a mechanism. Number two, speed to lead. We've got to follow up quickly. We have to make sure we're not leaving potential customers waiting. The faster we can get back to their inquiry, the faster we can confirm their online booking, the better. Here's some stats on this. Leads that aren't followed up within 15 minutes or less go cold, and following up within 5 minutes is 21 times more effective than calling after 30 minutes. After 5 minutes, the odds of qualifying a lead drops by 80%, and 50% of leads go with the company that answers first. So if you're frustrated with your thumbtack results or you're frustrated with your conversion rates, it's because somebody else is using automation or enabling online booking, following up quicker, getting those book jobs, and capturing that revenue. And it's hard to do this in the absence of automation, right? If we're not leveraging automation, we'd have to have an army of salespeople standing by to answer live, an army of salespeople standing by the second a contact form comes in, an army of salespeople manually following up on all these opportunities, sending text messages, making the phone calls. Both automation, we can streamline this entire process. And really what this enables us to do is allow customers to at least soft book online. Some of you feel like I don't want to give them an online scheduling option because I don't know when my crew is going to be available. Maybe the schedule is booked out and I don't know if that's going to conflict with our actual booking system. And I hear that. I definitely hear that. Ideally, we get everything synced up to that. So when they pick a time, it shows your actual availability. But in the meantime, you can actually just offer a soft booking. And here's what that soft booking is. They see a date and a time. Let's say it's tomorrow at 2 p.m. They enter their name and their email address. They pick that time. Then they get an email that says, thanks so much for requesting our team to come out at this day and time. We'll get back to you as soon as possible. Then whoever in the office gets that message can look at the schedule and say, actually, we don't have availability right now. Let me call that customer. Hey, I saw you requested the time. Unfortunately, we don't have availability then, but I can get someone out the next day or a little earlier that day. Does that work for you? And the reason this is so important is your customers that want to book online are bypassing you altogether. They're just trying to get something scheduled so they can take that off their plate. They're going to the website, seeing if there's online booking, and then if there isn't, they're hitting the back and going to the next site. The moment they pick a date and time from your website, though, in their mind, that's done. Tuesday at 3 o'clock, I picked this company. I'm going to stand by. I don't need to keep shopping. I don't need to keep looking at other companies. Type soft into the chat. If you've been worried about this or if this makes sense to you, if you can at least move to a soft booking approach, it's going to lead to more booked jobs, a lower cost per appointment, and a happier customer, assuming you've at least got relative availability close to the time they picked. The other thing we can do with automation is make sure that every lead gets an email, an SMS text message, and a phone call in 30 seconds or less. The automation can fire and say, hey, thanks for coming to our website and requesting information. How can we help? And then we can also automate the next step. Do you want to go ahead and schedule a time? If they write back yes, it says, great. Here's a scheduling link where you can pick a time that works for you. They pick a date and time and they enter our confirmation workflow. Then we can also make sure the customers who are in that wishy-washy phase, maybe they're still thinking about it, maybe they're not ready to schedule yet, that we're at least dripping on them and just kind of sequencing out some follow-ups, just some simple touch check-ins, emails, and text messages. Hey, it's been a week. You were on our website. You requested information. Do you still need some help? Is there a way we can support you? Simple stuff, right? With today's technology, it's not very hard to implement that, but it can have a huge impact on your results. So we engineer this for the clients who work with us. It takes the entire process from start to finish. If someone called in and went to voicemail, we can send them a missed call text back. So if somebody tries to schedule a time but doesn't actually pick a time, it says, hey, did you want to schedule a time? Once somebody does schedule, it can confirm it and walk them through the soft booking process or request that they call the office to get it booked. We developed that system specifically for lawn and landscape companies. So, I'd love to know your thoughts on this. Do you feel like if you implemented this, you'd make more money? Every lead getting followed up within a minute or less, every lead getting touched a couple of times, giving people the opportunity to schedule online. Type yes into the chat if you think it'd make a difference in your business, because obviously this is going to help you convert more jobs. Obviously, it's going to help you maximize the return on investment from your advertising, and it's going to give you a competitive advantage so that you can potentially participate, even if your Google Ads cost is too high right now, because you're converting more of those opportunities coming in, or maybe just plug into other lead channels that to this point haven't been working out for you. And I think the principle behind all of this, I'm not sure how many of you are familiar with Dan Kennedy, an old school direct response guru, but his famous quote was, the business that can spend the most to acquire a customer wins. And you can spend more to acquire a customer when you're able to convert more of the leads you generate into booked jobs. And when you're also better at converting those one-time customers into repeat buyers that use you again and again and then refer you to others. That's the other beautiful thing we can do with automation too. We can really nurture those relationships from that one-time customer into a customer that uses us again and again for those phase 2 items. So how do we implement this in your business? I'm going to give you some very basic tactics here. Regardless of how someone gets to you, whether we're driving them through Google Ads, through SEO, your website, through other channels, when they get to your website, we want to give them multiple opportunities to convert. We give them the contact form, we give them the phone number, we give them the online chat, we give them the online booking, and then we plug that into a marketing automation system. So every lead gets that call, that text message, that email. Every lead gets added to that drip sequence where we're continually following up with them, communicating in the ways that they want to convert. So visually here, let me show you what this looks like in the real world. We've got the phone number prominent. We've got options to start a quote via a contact form. The phone is the phone. We want to make sure when somebody clicks that number, it's clicked a call and we have a live answer. Some of us need to make sure we're a little more diligent with the follow through on that. This is where the soft booking comes into play. So after they submit that contact form, they land on this thank you page. They've already entered some details about their situation and their service area. Now they can actually soft book by picking a preferred time. Again, this is all psychological. They've checked this off their to-do list for the day, so they're less likely to keep looking for competitors just by giving them a time to pick. Let that sink in. It's almost like hacking conversion. Even more ideally, you can hook this to your CRM or salesperson's calendar and have actual booking, but this soft booking can work for everyone, regardless if you don't have a CRM, regardless if this is even doable in the CRM that you do have. So then you want a chat bubble on your website. When someone clicks the little chat widget, we make sure they've got a place to enter their name, their cell phone number, quick details. That actually sends them a text message that starts a chat queue, and we can have automation behind it. So I've got speed to lead with our two-way text messaging. Hey, just saw you filled in the form on our site. How can we help? And now we're in a two-way text conversation. We can even train AI to ask the right questions, answer simple things, and get them to soft schedule that appointment. So here's that quick visual again of the flow we put together for our clients. This is the whole journey from website visitor to text and email conversation, and then transitioning them to repeat and referral customers, customers who can leave us review and feedback. Final reminder on this stuff: your customers want to book online, they want to engage via two-way text message. Leads that don't get followed up within 15 minutes or less are going to go cold. Following up in 5 minutes is 21 times more effective. And then 50% of your customers are going to go with the company that answers first, follows up first, and gives them that opportunity to book in first. Hopefully, this is something you'll take action on, whether you do it with us or not. That's okay. But I want to know, will you do something with this? Whether it's setting up the online automations, whether it's online scheduling, maybe it's just the soft booking, whatever it looks like for you. If you're going to take some action on this, just type yes into the chat. Would love to hear that. And again, if you'd like help putting any of this into practice, we'd love the opportunity to connect. You can give us a call at 585-497-3448 or schedule directly at wslandscapemarketing.com. Mark Becky will drop the link into the chat there. This is if you want help with your website, your online marketing, or the big picture strategy for growing your lawn and landscape business online. We'll talk about automation. We do these sessions completely for free. We'll do a deep dive analysis of your current website, your current rankings, your conversion factors, and show you exactly where there's room for improvement and how we can help. And again, I'll personally look at that for you and give you tips. No hard sell, no pressure. You can just schedule that complimentary session through that link. You can scan that QR code or give us a call, and we'll take a look at that and give you some good information. Well, that's it for today, everyone. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them into the chat. We could stick around for a few minutes. If you're watching after the fact, feel free to put questions into the comments wherever you're watching from. We'll hang out and just see if there's any questions for those of us on live. Feel free to just pop them right into the chat. Thanks, everyone, for your time. Really appreciate you spending this hour with us. We'll see you all again real soon. Bye now.